Well, it is just about that time to kick off our last two maps of the morning, evening. How do we want to put this one? Depending where you are, of course. It's morning for us. It's rather early. For rather early, I mean, it's half past 5. So it was 30 past 5. I don't know. Math isn't really.
The roosters are starting to make
doing
noise.
a good job, Tress.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Hey,
Ultimately, don't really know what I'm doing, but here I am nonetheless. You know what? Who we can hope to know what they're doing would be Splyce and compLexity. Going into these last two matches of the day could equate to a riveting one, or how are we really feeling like this one falls, Pip?
I mean, to me, this is more like I need to get a sense of where these teams are in the league. You know, are there any potential for any of them to upset, to get into top 6 positions? Are these two teams that we're going to see, you know, go down in the relegation system? It's two different approaches to how they want to do this season. One of them have totally revamped the way they want to play, you know, with a new in-game leader, a new coach, a new analyst guy, where the other team is just the same story again. They switched one players, but didn't really change anything else. So, like, what approach works, and will these teams actually make something out of it this season, or will they just be placeholders, basically, for the rest of the games?
I mean, the last time I believe that these two squared off together would have been on Inferno, which we're going to see tonight. But Splyce came out on top, 16-10. Now, I believe this was with Exotic still. And this was, again, for the Katowice close qualifier. Or it was on the way to the close qualifier, I should say. Sometimes it gets a little confusing. A lot going on.
A lot of games.
A lot of names, a lot of deets. Don't worry about none of that, though. Looking at this, though, is Exotic addition to this lineup enough to bring them past the threshold of where you might consider Splyce now?
I mean, for me, I'd wager to say no, simply because obviously Exotic is a fairly fresh leaf on the scene. He previously played for CLG Academy, but you know, when that's the highest level you've played at, you haven't necessarily been tested to the same level that he's going to be going up against, you know, daily in Pro League. So that's going to be a really tough task for him. He's also a really, really young player, you know, born in 2002. So
obviously in itself is insane.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're getting really old over here. But yeah, at least I am. But you know, it's going to be a massive task for him to kind of try to prove himself. But it's going to be fun to watch his progression as the league turns on. And he's got, you know, fairly experienced guys surrounding him as well. Obviously, Semphis in that Splyce team has a ton of experience that he can actually, you know, teach and, you know, allow Exotic to kind of learn the ropes pretty quickly.
Well, we can flip the script. Let's talk about compLexity. Now, we know compLexity, they've recently secured some backing by Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. A lot of interesting and almost fascinating stuff to kind of see a revitalized compLexity from a frontward-facing perspective, so to say. They bring in FNS, someone from the XLG lineup, a guy that's been around North America for a while. What does FNS do to this compLexity lineup?
He hopefully can bring in some structure and relieve that potential that compLexity has had forever. Because when I was playing in NA, for example, with Team Liquid, we always used to practice those guys, and they're horrible in official matches. Never did do anything basically. And that's
honest.
It is what it is. But
yeah.
But in practice, they're good. You know, they had potential. You could feel that every time you played them on a practice. So that these guys were actually good players, and they could do something. For some reason, it never happened when they actually got into the games. And I feel FNS is maybe that guy who can revolve some of that potential around this team, because they got guys like PTR who now are also fairly new to the team, but he's decent. He's a great player. Same goes on for Death, the UK star of that team. There's definitely potential on the team. They just need to figure it out.
There's definitely. You had a banger right there, Pimp. Damn it, you had a banger right there. But I don't know if you missed it. I think you missed it.
I missed it.
You missed it just a little bit. Either way, another change we could talk about, the moving of Warden to a more managerial role. Now, they brought in Rambo, a guy former of Team 3D fame, 1.6 fame. The guy's a world legend. What can that bring to the table? Is that a breath of fresh air?
I mean, obviously it's going to be a breath of fresh air. Curious to see how the dynamic between FNS and Rambo is going to work out. Obviously, we've seen that in the past, that not necessarily all coaches and in-game leaders get on track and actually think the same way about the game. And obviously that's going to be a bit of an issue as they go along if they can't see eye to eye on that. But I would imagine that Rambo, you know, having at least a little bit of coaching experience from MVP in South Korea, you know, has an idea of what he wants to do. And, you know, I think FNS is flexible enough as well to kind of see things the same way, or actually come to a midway solution between what they envision for the team. And I think that's also one of the big things for FNS as well, compared to Slummy, for instance. The fact that when Slummy led teams, they would have structure to them, but it would be very one-dimensional, to the point where eventually you figure it out, and it's not really that hard to deal with. Slummy wouldn't necessarily have the answers to change things up on the fly that would actually lead his team to victory. I think FNS has a much more, proven past to actually be able to do that on multiple occasions. And I think that's going to be a massive gain for complexity.
It's also funny to note the fact that FNS is going from a team XCLG who also showed potential not only online but also at LAN events. They did make some top 2 performances and over the DreamHack open curses and stuff like that. He's taking a step down now. Like he's getting this team, and I'm pretty sure that he does this to himself, maybe because he can't find something else, but more realistically, probably because he gets to build this team as he wants to, and that's every in-game leader's dream, to get the pieces that he might pick out. They got the backing now, so not sure this is going to be the same team in 5 months from now on, but he gets to work this team out now and build this team around him and what he wants to play with. And I think FNS has been praised enough by a lot of people, for what he does, and he's sort of like the European style of in-game leader that NA doesn't have. The only one out there. So I think it's a great pickup on complexity, and the potential is definitely there in the team to stress that out completely.
And now with more resources than a higher power behind you, I feel as though the door has never been more opened for a complexity to come in here and set a dominance that they haven't seen in such a long time. The maps we're going to be squaring off tonight will be Mirage and Inferno. Starting off with Mirage, guys, I have to get some predictions from you.
I mean, I'm leaning towards complexity. I think FNS is going to be a great addition to that squad. So I'm thinking complexity 2-0.
Yeah, I want to go the road too. Now we've seen 2 1-1, so I'm thinking it's going to be a 1-1. But everything that points towards it should be complexity 2-0. I think they have the better team. I think they have the better players, and FNS with them, it's going to be good.
Well, I have to say it's going to be a 2-0 with quadruple overtimes in both games, and none of that actually matters. Let's go ahead and give it to the guys who actually work for a living and our commentators who are brutally standing by.
Prediction. I want to throw that one out there before we begin. Yeah, complexity versus Splyce. It's gonna be cool. Some new rosters. I like the shout out to Rambo in there. That was kind of cool. And especially because when you think Rambo actually did some cool work with MVP Project from Korea. He was out there for a number of months working with teams from a region that don't normally get a whole lot of love, and we saw them at Star Ladder like early last year, and they had some cool things to him. So Rambo, obviously a guy, an old school guy, doesn't really have a whole lot of competitive, actually I don't think he has any competitive CSGO under his belt, but knows enough about the game to still be impactful as a coach, which is very cool.
Yeah, and while this is already underway, going to be a fast play out towards A right now as they go charging on in.
Look at Roka peering over the smoke. Some shots ring out. Not going to land anything, but the bomb site is firmly in the control of complexity, and 5-on-5 retakes are usually dicey for the CT side, especially with no kits, but it's all going to be won and lost on this staircase. Here comes the battle. No flashbangs for the CT side, so the Ts casually walk into the open for them, and, I mean, that's not ideal.
Yeah, now it all falls to FNS and PTR to do what they can, but Drone dispatches of everyone. 3 frags, Defuse comes on in, and Splyce, they pick up this first round. Ooh.
There's a lot of heartbreak in that round for complexity. Obviously, swinging off those stairs isn't like the worst idea in the world. It's just mistimed. There was no indication of how close the CTs were, and they obviously don't know there's not a flashbang, so they feel like they have to do something from that position. But also, I mean, you want to talk about a bigger miscommunication. It didn't come to play because the post plan was such a wipe for Splyce, but Peter rotates all the way around from A ramp to mid to get an angle on the bomb, but it's planted at default. It's not even planted for him whatsoever. So miscomms in terms of where things are planted. They're not going to get a second round buy out of complexity. They're fully invested into this, despite the fact that they got the plant. We've seen a number of teams usually saving up for the AK-47s. Not this time.
Yeah, they have got the pistol arm with a nice bit of utility to go behind it. Well, they haven't really thrown much of that out just yet. Baby's aggressive here down ramp, and that is going to be a taken down. Smoking off connector, rerouting up here towards short. Semphis does lie in wait, although he's going to get dinked down very low, 3 HP, as he looks to try and get away. He does have players hunting him down, throws the M4 away, but Android going to get rid of him. That's it for Android, though. Exotic finishes him off. It's FNS 1v4 over on the bench. Don't fancy his odds here. 9 HP in a dream. Able to get the first on a Davy. That will be it for him. Roker in with the trade. Splyce going to get themselves that second round. A little bit of a cost does come in as they do lose 2 players there. But now they have a chance to make some money.
That's low-key like my favorite play of the night, is watching Semphis like crawl forward as much as possible to throw the M4 through the hole. Fair play to him. I think one of the cool things about this, if you look at this compLexity team, part of the thing I think that's cool is Yaster and Android are both like players who have like young players that people are pretty high on in terms of their individual skill. Never really been fully a part of a fully functional team. But I mean, when you add in the fact that FNS you know, is a really good in-game leader for teams that aren't used to having, you know, some kind of structure. He's very good at like putting in an initial structure in place for some teams. I think that's cool. And then obviously you put someone experienced like Rambo as the coach. And I think there's some ingredients here to allow these younger players to flourish in ways that they haven't quite had in the North American scene yet. And that's my romantic viewpoint of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, I like him as well because Def's there and he's British. And we don't get a lot of representation.
He's been here for a while.
Yeah.
Has been doing stellar, Harry. I regret to say.
Well, you know,
true to UK CS form, it hasn't been the greatest display.
Well, he's going to prove you wrong there. He gets 2 with a Glock. But, you know, I mean, to be fair, two kills in a round that was a throwaway is not much of a rebuttal to what you just said.
I mean, I think he's another one of those guys that's got some talent, has shown some good things. And again, I think it's some of the tough part where he's been stuck on a team like compLexity that has never really had a great roster to surround him with, some great teammates to surround him with, and has never really had like a whole lot of stability that he can get comfortable in. So this will be interesting to see if this can provide some of that structure and stability that he needs to really flourish as a player. I don't think we've seen everything he has to offer, in all fairness.
Well,
I'm being way too nice tonight.
Yeah, I know. You're being lovely, Jason.
Sucks.
It must be the jet lag. But you know, I'm sure we're going to see the usual sassy man that we're used to seeing come week 2. But right now, going to be AKs across the board for compLexity. There's no aggression this time from Davey down towards ramp, as we have seen in these last few rounds. He's still going to be playing there. He just tucked himself away into the corner. compLexity going to run boost down the mid. I kind of love this play. It's not going to really lead to anything now. And I'm very glad that there was no one there. Android gets flashed by his teammate. And that kind of falls a bit short of where you're really hoping to land. But it is very good. If you have an AWP down in window and you run boost across, it's a fantastic way to catch them off guard. And the good thing is they weren't spotted doing it. So Splyce won't be suspecting that in coming rounds. Going to be taking control of mid. It looks like it's going to be a wrap in towards this A-bomb. So you have Ye up in Palace. They're just going to progress into connector. Smoke going to start to dissipate. It's really going to be all eyes on Roka. He's able to get one. Trey comes in from Android. Now Exotic peeks out from a top of Ticket. Ye going to catch him off guard, but he just manages to slip away. Goes back for the repeat, gets punished for it, and now Davey at this aggressive ramp position, shuts down one. There's only 10 seconds left. They have to go for the bomb plant, and they might have left it a little bit too late as Ye does, sorry, not Ye. Davey does the damage defuse. I'm just gonna give up. It's too early. Too early in the morning, Jason.
It happens. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. And the worst,
yeah,
apparently.
That's very hectic. And I mean, really good round from Davey, obviously having position on that A ramp with the SMG. That's good stuff from him. And obviously just whittling things down. compLexity they just get whittled down and traded as they go into that bomb site. But I think the idea was good. The idea was there. They had some solid trades initially. Just some lack of positioning and some good proactive plays from Splyce. They did lose the AWP, though, and they were only down to 1 player, so damage is done to the economy. This is one of those rounds where against pistols and there's only 1 smoke, 3 players with armor. Splyce need to have, 3-4 players survive this round. They need to be able to build up some money. Exotic just checking what is out there. Molotov and quick peek. See what he's working with. But I think compLexity, essentially with this 1 smoke on FNS, all they really have to do is hit this B bomb site, which could be so deadly without flashbangs.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Drone just jump peeking for the information. Has support from Sempis over on short. All ready to go. Smoke going to go in. Delays the push that much longer. And we saw compLexity get punished by time in the previous round. Let's hope this isn't the case here. As the guys start to progress down through short. They don't actually get spotted by Exotics. They're allowed to get by for free. Sempis falls at the first hurdle. And now it's all eyes on Drone as they come his way. He's going to go down. Exotic, first man on the scene. Also first man to fall. He goes down. And now it's Roka and Davey left. Do they try and go for this one? They know that the buy is very light for compLexity. They have utility to use. They're going to start to make their way in and see if they can find anything to get them into this retake. And now they've committed. They're both inside of the site. Def going to be holding close to that smoke. Roka tries sneaking by. Does get one. Davey bites the dust, and that is compLexity in with their first round on the back of that partial buy.
Yeah, that's a stunner. That one hurts. That's kind of kneecaps them in terms of the money they have to work with. So it's going to be Splyce now due to the fact they won that previous round with only one player surviving. They just don't have the money. And I mean, I started that out by saying they should have 3 to 4 people survive. It's going against an easier buy. With one smoke and just pistols, they enter into that B site. That's really nice. Surprising turn of events. What does Splyce have up their sleeves here? Some pushing in towards underpass. Def with a nade in his hand gets caught. He's dinked, but he does manage to get away. He's got teammates here to help him out, but Sempus pushing mid finds one. Exotic being a bit annoying before PTR slaps him away. It somehow is brought into a 3-on-3 though, and there's no map control for compLexity. All 3 of them stuck in these B halls. Def is extremely low, and an AK has been salvaged by Roka, who is over at the A bomb site. And this is a cool play as well from Splyce. Is that push into the B halls, continually pushing forward, getting information, eliminating a possibility of this B bomb site, at least for the moment. They can still go mid. But as much information that is going to allow his teammates to get in a better position as possible. That's actually Davey making that push.
Yeah, and that allows them to have Roka and Sempus over here with the AK. Locking down this A-bomb site time. Ticking on down. compLexity going to have all 3 players exit out from Palace. The information gained from Davey is absolutely insane in this round. They're going to make their way in. Roka finds the first. That's it for him. Now Sempus waits in CT. Going to try and deny the bomb plant. And Def is tagged very low, but Android up close takes the brunt of the shots. And takes the aggression away from Def. The bomb plant comes in. Now it's Davey 1v2. He may as well go for this, right? He's only got the CZ. They can buy the next round regardless. And there is still potential. Android's here in CT all on his lonesome. Spots out Davey. Going to be sent reeling back and, well, reposition into connector. Once again, going to catch Android unaware. Has tagged him down low. Potential to find some exits. Def going to miss that shot with the AWP. Has to try and get away because he is at the mercy of that bomb explosion. It will be a second round for compLexity, but fantastic damage done by Splyce in what was a pretty small investment.
Yeah, it's a very good round for them. It kind of hurts because they had a real good opportunity to actually win that round. So that's kind of what makes it feel a bit disappointing in one sense. But either way, you're right. With what they brought into that round, that's a phenomenal outcome for them. Davey even able to grab an AK-47 right at the end. So playing the money game. Exotic has the AWP in his hands. But compLexity has the full brunt of utility and economy behind them in this round. They can do whatever they want. Meanwhile, the defense is going to be running out of ways to slow down any kind of hits, any ways to block some of these choke points off.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Ye waiting to go towards ramp. They've fallen prone to this aggression from Davey a couple of times now, so they are very weary of that fact. They're taking their time securing mid. Now, Splyce have been fairly lax on the mid control. Exotic, here's the man with the AWP. He's been playing in towards CT, just watching from a top ticket if they make their way into connector. But you kind of have Roka there as the first point of contact. Has a crossfire set up with drone over on short. It was Sempus playing it a few rounds ago, but it looks like they've switched that up. Going to be another run boost out towards mid. Doesn't yield any results. The flash pops and now Android going to start to sneak on down. Drone is boosted up.
This is going to start getting dicey, though. I mean, compLexity is going to split this B bomb site. They were going to send these 2 players up catwalk while 3 players come in through these B halls, but the time is running low. This has got to come in quick. 35 seconds left. Creeping slowly up catwalk. FNS, nade in hand, not able to check for the boost. There's a small mistake, and Drone, because of the attention put on towards catwalk, he saw FNS looking up here. He knows what's coming. He turns around. There's one more playing up catwalk that can just assassinate him and take it out of the fight, but it's slow in coming. Android needs to turn this corner. Another player is at this B bomb site. There's the kill. Sempis gonna delay things even more. Great kill, that's the bomb. And again, less than 10 seconds. They need to get things planted, but they're losing players. The bomb is gonna go down in time, but they might have taken too many losses, and there it is. Exotic stops it. That is a great peek, preventing even a post-plant situation from coming out. And Def just wants to hide, but he does prevent the op from being salvaged. Great play from the young opper on Splyce.
Yeah, I mean, I was very excited to see Exotic play coming into this. Of course, he's only 16, I think, so very young. A lot of promise behind. There's been quite a bit of hype around him, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, already kind of not afraid to take gambles like that. I'd say is a very good sign. I mean, I think there's kind of two ways it goes with a lot of the kind of young players. They kind of either come into it with brimming with confidence and thinking they're the best, or we see some of them be quite quiet, afraid to do anything that's a little bit risky, and it takes them a while to come out of their shell. So the fact we kind of see Exotic not afraid to go for that play, rushing into the side. I mean, if he'd gone down, it would have been a very, very different story in the retake, right? But he knows their push for time, and in dropping the bomb, he does secure the round for Splyce.
Yeah, although I'm wondering if, I mean, young NA players, they don't necessarily know anything except how to make plays. That's like what they kind of, coming up through the amateur ranks in North America, that's basically the #1 thing you learn is to go make a play somewhere. And it is risky. Like, for instance, if he misses that shot or if he's killed before he gets it off, then it's a 2-on-2 retake and a post plant. So, I mean, there's a risk to it, and obviously this time around he got the reward. Will be interesting to see if his style changes as he gets more experience.
Yeah, well, in this round, compLexity money is going to be a little bit tight. They force ball down what they can around that AK. That was saved. FNS starting to peek over towards apartments. Is going to now fall back. Bomb still over in T-spawn. So once again, compLexity showing that they like to take things slowly here. I haven't really seen that work out for them too much. It seems like time has been the kind of crux in a lot of these site takes time and time again. So now switching up the pace a little bit. They're a lot faster in the site in comparison. They've snuck all the way in, and Sempis, he can cause them some problems as Davey finds the flash. They don't check it. Sempis able to go ahead and light up Yay. Roka's the man to find it. Sempis goes down. Roka going to fall as well, and now it's Drone and Exotic left. Exotic blocked in CT. That smoke has missed its mark.
Make a play. There's the jump up onto the box. Takes the shot. Misses it, unfortunately. Drone's going to try and walk over and meet up with them. Android being cautious of the flank. Very cool contact play up towards the A bomb site. A little bit worrying with how much utility kind of went down, not used, but that's kind of the style of the play. Here comes the retake. Smoke towards A ramp. Flashbang going to be in the sky. Another one to follow it up. Both have kits. Android is eventually traded down, but this should be impossible for the young player. FNS and Def playing this very, very well. Neither peeking. His head's showing on our screen, but I don't think Exotic can see it, and he's just got to give up the fight. With an AWP, not able to find either one. FNS holding his nerve on the staircase. That's going to be another round for compLexity, and still the money continues to dwindle. All they have is an op into the next round. Such a tough spot. I mean, it's a great peek from Davey, an initial kill on a PTR, but that spot just is like, if you don't have a great hold of mid, that spot is so risky, and you can see why. It's basically a one and done. He even goes over and glances at connector, but at the time he peeks over, there's no one there. So by the time he swings back towards A ramp, then he gets peeked upon, and it's just so dicey.
Looks like it's going to be a bit of a change of pace coming in from compLexity. They've played a lot of these rounds very, very slowly now. They send 4 players over here to B. Perhaps they're going to move a little bit more quickly. FNS remains behind. Waiting to see if any aggression comes up towards mid, and then you imagine to hold off these rotations. Smokes and flashes rain into the site. They're going to quickly boost the man up into the corner. That's Drone. Sempis goes down, and they do suspect the boost. Drone gets nothing done. Def on the entry finds himself 2. And already that save call going to come on in. Davey wants to keep hold of the armor. Exotic the AWP. He's going to drop out FNS as well. That's a UMP that Roka could try and pick up, although you'd imagine that they would want something a bit more meatier than that.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the save call comes out so early is kind of what prevents compLexity. I feel like to a certain degree, compLexity would love to chase this one, but the fact that, Splyce has already got good positions to kind of, hide and kind of hunker down if that chase does come in means there's just no point. You're just kind of going to bleed weapons away, especially against an AWP that can use all the range. So good save call from Splyce early on, and good decision by compLexity not to try and hunt down those weapons. And it's going to be a 4th round for the T side. And they're almost at that tipping point where they kind of have complete control of the economic situation in this game. Good entries from Def.
Yeah, and I mean, now for Splyce, a bit of an awkward spot once again. It is just going to be the partial bite around this AWP. So you imagine this is a chance for compLexity to find themselves a 5th. It's going to be aggression out in towards mid. They sneak on by into lower tunnels, and because compLexity took their time to peek it, there is potential for damage, but Def, he's read this well, opens up with Roka. Def finds a second on a Davy.
Ooh, hello.
Exotic going to go ahead and get rid of him, though. That is one man down. They know the AWP resides inside of B, so they're going to quickly look to jettison up and in towards A. Sempis doesn't last versus the AKs, and now it's Exotic 1v4. Android does manage to drop him. Still 3 players left, and he's pushed on in. He's somewhat committed to the fight now. As the Molotov goes down from behind, compLexity love the chance to take the AWP out of his hands and back against the wall. He actually gets a 3rd. That was a nice shot, but here's the AWP out of their hands now, which...
I mean, at this point with the losing bonus built up, obviously you'd want to keep it, but he can afford another one if he wants to go for it. Going to be light on nades, maybe no head armor. Definitely no head armor. Ooh, he's actually going for utility over any armor whatsoever. So regardless, it's still very expensive loss in terms of that weapon, but at least they still have it into this. He's, I believe that I saw he's a leading fragger at the moment, 12 and 6 for Exotic.
Yeah, and he's going to be creeping up mid. Doesn't have armor to work with, as you said. He has himself 2 flashes to flash himself in, but there is PTR holding the angle.
Oh, jeez.
So he spotted the leg. PTR drops him. That's Exotic down. The AWP dropped over in mid, and compLexity find an early man advised. That is going to be handed to them on a silver platter.
Here's what bugs me about that play. I'm fine with the call to have him be aggressive and go for that peek, but you had Sempis in the window room with 2 flashbangs. Why not have him throw a flashbang up mid to help you get that angle and take the peek? And if it's not there, you just fall away. Dry peeking that is just, I mean, even against an AK-47, if you're not looking at the right place, the advantage is to the guy holding the angle. Regardless, like the confidence in the send the young guy forward, see what he can do for you. Sempis now is the AWP, and he did try and be an AWPer for a couple seasons, and I believe he actually spent his first season, this was, I think it was like 2 years ago to be fair, but his first season he transitioned into an AWPer. He actually he was like the highest rated AWPer of the league. So that's, you know, fun fact.
Well, let's see.
Fun yet useless fact.
Well, I mean, let's see how useless it is, and now he looks to try and live up to that once again. Shot miss from PTR does lead to his demise, and well, now it's Android and Ye left, only 20 seconds. Android goes down, Ye falls shortly after, and Sempis in with 2. Does get the work done with the AWP.
Again, though, there's a lot of utility on the compLexity side of things that didn't go used in that hit. I think Android, the last player to die, had all of his nades by the time all of his teammates were gone. So, I mean, those are flashbangs, those are smokes that you can use. Taking a big risk, not paying off for him. There, another buy is in the books for the T side, though. 5-2-6. Davy's going to start peeking down a ramp. Smoke extinguishes the Molotov. Him and Yaster at a standstill. It's all quiet on the map so far. compLexity not making a move.
Yeah, not moving anywhere just yet. Drone. And Sempis lying wait over here towards B. And right now, once again, lacks mid-control from Splyce. Does mean compLexity could easily make their way in through short and go for a B split here. But they go ahead and change their minds, start to double back.
No damage has been exchanged by either one of these teams, so playing it safe. 45 seconds left. And actually, it looks like there's going to be some kind of a technical pause going to be coming into play here, as all the terrorists have essentially gone towards T-spawn. And with no damage dealt, everyone's pretty content to allow that to happen. Good times. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. There we are. Hello. Yeah, I mean, this is... I think we're seeing some of the struggles of... I mean, we knew kind of both of these teams were going to... we're going to kind of struggle in different areas of the game with new rosters and just teams who have kind of like historically been you know, down towards the bottom. You're going to kind of work on things, and I think from compLexity so far, from what I've seen, is I've mentioned a couple times like a lack of utility on some of their hits. When players have smokes and flashbangs, why not use them when you hit a bomb site instead of doing some kind of dry contact play? And on the side of Splyce, I think there's just been some lack of teamwork and coordination in some of the plays that are being made, which is all very, you know, typical for teams bringing in new players and new people.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, curious.
This is turned into like a patriotic choker. I think.
I mean, you're
over the hours,
making it a trend. I like it.
Why not?
It looks good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of people who think chokers look cute. You're pulling it off.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But no, with like your kind of young gun stepping into the roster in the form of Exotic, what do you think kind of the thing to watch out for with him is? Because there's a lot of things that can kind of make or break a younger player's future, right?
I mean, as an AWPer, I want to see the first thing I would look for in an AWPer is something like, can he hit like the easy shots? Can he hold the angles? Can you put him in a position and just say, listen, you have to hit this one shot? Like, obviously it's nice to have someone who can do these kinds of plays where he stops this diffuse, the really, really fast shot onto the planter. But can he do, this stuff, like the fundamental stuff? And that's kind of what you want. That's where you need to build, because an AWP has to be something you can rely on to cut off rotations, to deny flanks. And then you'd love to have that ability to make plays, but you need the basics first.
Yeah. And yeah, just been informed, we're waiting for FNS to reconnect to this server.
It's always FNS, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's been taking his team, kind of the overall play style right now seems to be very slow, and even the speed at which he gets back into the server.
It's the FNS style, and that's actually good for this team. That you need to start with something very basic, and it's going to be slow paced. And as they get more experience together and work some more things, and Rambo works with them obviously as the coach, they're going to add some wrinkles to that, but it is going to be like very just basic default heavy to start with pretty much every single round, which isn't a bad thing, because you have to get that down before you can build upon it, before you can add in the new plays. So yeah, that's just what we'll see out of compLexity, I would imagine, for the first 2-3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, okay. And for some context, Jason, I don't know if you're getting the same information I am.
I'm
but
not.
Okay, well, so FNS, his internet died. That's what happened.
Cool.
Of course, having your IGL drop out midway through a round is never ideal.
No, it's not.
So you're just waiting for that to get sorted. He should be back in momentarily.
Cool.
But yeah, no, with this Splyce roster, I think. Of course, I've seen them play a little bit, right? I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert on Splyce. I think the last time I saw them was quite a while ago. Yeah. But the kind of star players for me I always enjoyed watching Drone and Roka play. But I think
of all the players you could be picking here.
Yeah, I know. Well, I like to be different.
Yep.
I think they're very inconsistent though. I feel like if you have them step up, you're onto a bit of a winner. But if they fall quiet, then you're pretty screwed. And I feel like as of late they haven't really been having the performance I'd seen a few months ago when I saw them play. But who's kind of the player I should be keeping an eye on as someone who hasn't really seen Splyce play all that much? Throwing you under the bus here at like 6 a.m.
Exotic was probably the one, I guess you'd say.
Oh, okay, right. So
I mean, we've watched Cephas play for years. We know what he's bringing to the table, and solid player. Not necessarily like a star. I think you got to look to someone like Exotic to be the guy. I mean, even Roka. We've seen Roka play on teams for years. We know what he's going to bring to the table. Yeah. Davey had a period. I mean, remember he played with Splyce at with MLG Columbus. And like right around that time, that was a major back in the first major of 2016. But he had some potential, and he had a lot of excitement around him around that time, and it's kind of fizzled away in these lineups he's had. So I think he's still talented. He just hasn't put together the whole package of like a great player. Yeah. But you have to just kind of look at this team and say the main asset they have is Exotic.
Yeah.
Exotic.
Yeah, I know, man. We talk about him a hell of a lot. He's kind of the new guy, the young guy, of course, and potential to be that star player. But the thing that I'm also kind of curious about is looking at this complexity roster. I think FNS is a very good addition to the team, right? I think it's one that was lacking that. You always kind of bring quite like a refined leadership to the team that you work with. Of course, they have their new coach as well stepping in. So they kind of have a chance now to shape up a lot of these players who, as you pointed out early on, they're kind of young and have been lacking that guidance, right? But what is it specifically you think like FNS could really bring to this roster?
Just any form of structure.
Right.
Most of the teams that have been at like the lower end of invite for like a number of seasons have been. I always look at it as saying they're closer to like pug teams than actual teams, and I don't know all the practice habits, but when you look at them in game, it's clear that there's something that's not properly being worked on. There hasn't been a whole lot of improvement. Like when you look at the Splyces and the complexities over the past few seasons of Pro League, it's not that they're bad teams, but those are the teams that you've looked at playing and you've said these are the squads that there should be some team coming up through MDL, through Premier that should be able to take their spot in Pro League eventually through the relegation matches. And it's never happened, but you don't see any great improvement from them from season to season. It's just kind of like lingering towards the bottom with no real leap. So, you know, FNS as someone coming in is going to be able to provide that kind of structure, the game plan. And he has experience, you know, with CLG of taking a team from that wasn't great at one point and making them contenders in North America, having some deep runs and some good runs in tournaments with a couple different players. So he's grown a lot in his leadership from when, you know, we first started watching him in like 2014, 2015. So I mean, those are the things that most young players in NA have missed, is some kind of a good leader who actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So that's what FNS brings.
You know, I feel like that's what I found in you, Jason. Is someone experienced who knows what he's doing, knows what he's talking about.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, then there you go. That makes two of us. Just been told that there's been another problem now. I don't know if it's FNS again.
Cool.
But you know, I felt like we just kind of bigged him up quite a bit, and now he's
and
bailed
he let
on
us down.
once more.
I told you, it's always FNS. It's always an issue with FNS.
I actually remember. I think it was DreamHack Valencia. They had a game versus Red Reserve. And they go to win it out. You know, they're at match point. They go for the defuse, and it's FNS holding it. He just lets go a little too soon. I think it was FNS who was getting it for CLG.
I'm pretty sure that was my boy Kusta.
Actually, it was Kusta. I just remember FNS was the most devastated on the team. Yeah, I know I was. But
well, on that big gaffe from you, Henry, or Harry. Ooh, Harry, same thing. We're gonna head to a break while we get these technical issues figured out, while we figure out where the players are going. So stay tuned, and we'll update you when we have some information.
bad. Fucking hell, dude.
What do you call the Nintendo Wii in France?
What?
A Nintendo Yes.
Nothing. What time should you go to the dentist?
I don't know. What time?
2:30. No, nothing? I thought that was pretty good.
Why did the golfer bring an extra pair of pants?
No idea.
In case he got a hole in one.
Oh, I'm out of here. What do you call a singing computer?
What?
Adele. She's your favorite singer.
Why are wives like computer games?
Don't know.
When you're bored, you cheat.
That is terrible. That is terrible.
Oh, I actually found that more.
That's terrible. All right. Have you heard about the new Minecraft movie?
Yes, welcome back. There was a server issue, and now that it's all been fixed, you can see we are live in the game, which is quite nice. And right off the bat, Roka's down for the count. You can see some pretty good control of the map, pretty good mid control from compLexity coming out. I believe, if I recall the way Matchday works correctly as well, as soon as a first round is completed, the scores at the top will update, hopefully.
I mean, we can hope, but yeah, Roka, the first man down here for Splyce. compLexity continue this aggression in towards A. Davey, he's the only man nearby. Currently resides down in CT, going to be held back by that Molotov. FNS has worked his way over here towards the window, and that's a pretty devastating position to have. Now, Drone, he's kind of the one factor that could make a difference, the linchpin of this round as he starts to flank around through T-spawn. No. Did PTR here, and that's the thing. Yeah, he's up here in Palace. That's a guaranteed frag. If he's unaware, Drone going to be sneaking on up, finds the first PEA and the second onto Def. They're going to keep going in for this one. FNS is able to go ahead and trade things back, keeps it even. Time's ticking away. They have to move swiftly here. As the bomber ticks on down, Exotic gets one. PTR going to fall, and now it's all on Android, and he takes them all. 4 frags for him in that round. And compLexity, they might have had some problems, but they return in fighting form.
Yes, they do. That is quite nice. Surviving, even Drone. This flank almost does it for him. A great kill from FNS, but it's all Android and Connector who really wins this one out. That's a nice hold on to the post plant for compLexity at the end of the day. So I believe I saw the score was all tied up at 6-6, and right off the bat we had a timeout, and yes, technical timeout. So 6-6, things are all tied up.
Yeah. And for Splyce, not too sure what the economic situation is. I think we just missed that as we came back in. And seeing as we've had a bit of a pause, I don't seem to recall what the money was. Jason, you know, you're
no, I didn't catch it
I was going to say, okay.
It was too quick.
That's fine. You know, it looks like it wasn't great as they just go for pistols in this round. They have smoke up on Davey. That's going to get thrown out over here towards ramp. That delays any early aggression, but compLexity, they might just try pushing their way on through. They've taken these rounds very slowly. And this looks to be the first one that they go quickly into, and that's much to Splyce's demise, as right now they're all over in mid. Going to start rotating up in a connector. They have to move quickly here, or suddenly they have a lot of bodies coming their way, and that's where things get tricky. In through the smoke they come. Def able to go ahead and get one, while the rest of the guys get dropped. It's all on Semphis, 1v3. Smoke's going to start to fade, and now he's thrust into the arms of Def. You also have Android over in mid to try and mop this up from behind. It's going to go peeking over. Whoop, down onto Def he goes, but Def wins the duel. compLexity going to go ahead and take the lead, 7-6.
Now we've got some money back in the bank for Splyce, enough to afford some of the powerful weapons, the AWP on Zodic. 3 M4s. It's only 1 kit onto Davey, but compLexity still feeling very, very good with their buy, very comfortable with their purchases. Semphis and Drone going to be over towards this B bomb site. PTR again taking up position, hoping someone's going to jump for some kind of information. But as we talked about earlier, the FNS-led T-sides for compLexity are just going to be slow, spread out standard defaults.
Yeah, and this is a return to that slow pace. We saw them mix things up in the last 2 rounds by speeding it up. This time with the bomb still over in T-spawn, it is going to be, as you said, a slow default here. Difference this time around for the setup for Splyce is that you have Semphis over towards that short, I think that is, and that's going to give them a bit more of a presence over here in mid.
Tough part, though, is it's going to be tough for Semphis and Roka. They're kind of... I mean, Roka's at top of connector, Semphis is in the ladder room. It's going to be tough for them to really kind of work together and set up a crossfire. 45 seconds left. Hasn't been any kind of gunfights. It almost feels like this has to be going up connector towards that A bomb site. You're going to have Davey there underneath balcony, and you're going to have Roka. Like I said, he's in connector now. 30 seconds left. You're getting to the point where almost nothing can go wrong, and that's a good start. Roka gets picked off. No chance at a refrag for Splyce, and compLexity is going to force their way into the bomb site. Davey, the last one left, and he can do nothing. And it's way, way too easy for compLexity to just waltz into this bomb site and take the round away.
Yeah, call to save comes in. 3 players that can try and stay alive. And for Semphis, it's a little bit sad because there are 2 rifles down inside this A bomb site, but he's going to have to just stick with the UMP. compLexity heading into the last round of the half. Could look to go hunting here. Do you imagine they might, given that they won the last couple? Weren't the cleanest win. Semphis going to go down. That's the UMP dropped, and I mean they really are desperate now to try and hold on it to the M4 and the AWP between Drone and Exotic. Going to be scraping together what they can in the next round. Exotic able to find Android, and that's going to deter the hunt from compLexity. They want everything they can into the last round of the half.
Last round of the half that Splyce would love to have. The CT side has kind of gotten away from them just a bit. compLexity starting to string together, or really, not even really starting to, but string together a lot of solid rounds. Things are going to change this time. Exotic has the angle. He finds the opening kill. That's on to Def, swinging out wide in Palace. And 2 players, Semphis and Roka, getting aggressive down A ramp as well. Now, here's the danger for Splyce, is the fact that they're clearing out all this grounds means you're going to see Exotic and Davey rotating over towards the B bomb site. Meanwhile, compLexity, this is a mistake. Obviously, we can see that from the minimap, but Splyce never fully cleared out Palace. They don't actually know this is clear. They're taking a big, big gamble here, and it's not going to pay off. Davey's going to find himself in a whole world of hurt, 2 different angles to battle from with only a UMP. When does the move come from compLexity? There it is. There's the kill from Davey. Any minute now, he should be going down. It's PTR with the AWP, now peering out towards Catwalk. Not going to be aware players down towards mid. He just gets around the wall, but he's been dinked up. Bomb's going to be planted. The peek doesn't work out. Splyce, huge, huge advantage despite some of the mistake they made on the rotation. They still look like they're going to come out of this one okay with a 7th round.
Yeah, Android 1v3 would be required. Semphis not going to let that happen in Splyce. They will pick up that 7th round. And as you kind of said, it looked like a round that should have eluded them there. They go for that big information play in it through ramp, don't clear the angles properly, and you know, missed information is just as bad as no information, if not worse, right? I mean, we see them kind of rotating everyone off of A. Luckily enough, it was a pretty decent hold from Davey. Staying alive longer than I think you originally anticipated, combined with PTR making his way back into connector, allows them time to rotate the players on in.
Yeah, that flank down A ramp ball, it kind of bit him in the ass at the start in the short term. Peter was not expecting that flank to be coming down from top mid so quickly after he was able to clear out Davey. So, I mean, tough half for Splyce overall. Really nice job from compLexity. It is. I mean, while we're on the subject of some of these teams that are, you know, not as successful in the North American Pro League, one thing that marks with them as well is weaker CT sides, just because the coordination isn't always there to have the proper rotation. So it isn't that uncommon to see the majority of the maps, while, you know, when we see them at the majors, at the bigger 250K tournaments, be CT sided, you know, sometimes at these lower levels of play, they do become more T sided for that reason. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out here.
Yeah, and as we get ready to head into the second half, we will be seeing Splyce. They're the ones now who can set the pace on that T side, and as you say, perhaps take a bit of an advantage in that sense. And I think, you know, this is going to be a good chance to see how FNS opts to play this CT side with compLexity. It's always interesting for me to kind of watch how the new IGL step into that role. You know, we know he likes to play a very kind of a slow, regimented T side, very methodical, very you know, time conscious in his approach to it. Now with the CT side, I'm curious to see how those rotations pan out. If we see any sort of aggression, you know, we weren't shy of seeing the aggression come out from Splyce. It seemed like every round they would have players going for that aggression into ramp, you know, kind of pushing the boat out in different avenues of the map. And I'm curious to see if we see much of that from compLexity.
I I imagine we'd see some. I mean, obviously, when you think of PTR as an AWPer, you think of someone who's going to get aggressive, who wants to take fights and take peeks. So it'll be interesting to see if he's gotten any more measured since I last saw him playing. And yeah, they've got some guys who you know, from the little I've seen of them, and opinions will change over the course of the season. But guys like Android and Ye liking to take fights with a rifle. So we'll see how it all pans out. Pistol round going live now. compLexity on the CT side with an 8-7 lead over Splyce. A couple players of utility on the T side. And it looks like it's just going to be a standard A execute here. Here's some of that aggression. You were wondering if we're going to see it. Well, we're going to see it. How aggressive do they want to get when the smokes start raining over? Yeah, he's just going to peek for it. Oh, the pop flash. I don't know if that was their teammates, but it wrecks them entirely. Drone gets that kill. He gets the follow-up as well onto Ye. And the round is pretty much lost from here. There's a slow lurk coming in from Davey and Underpass. They're going to have to hit some stunning shots. They've got a chance here still. Def, big role to play. He's got to clear out Exotic, and it's not going to happen.
PTR Davey in the flank. Does manage to find him. He's been able to get it back to a 1-on-2. Drone's tagged within inches of death down in CT. Has to be careful. PTR has the kit as well. Only 6 bullets, though. It's going to be tricky. Drone goes in with a peek. Drone lands the shot. 4 HP gets the job done, and Splyce, they will find the pistol around here in the second half. I mean, it was this play down a World's ramp. It could have, you know, made or broke the round, and the flash was the thing that ultimately decided it, just showing how strong utility is in these pistol rounds.
Yeah, but I didn't see if that was that was like a CT flash.
Well,
I think it might have been.
Yeah, it seemed odd, right, for just the T's to flash.
Well, because the T's were lined up to throw the smokes over the wall, so I don't imagine a pop flash was even in the realm of possibility. Regardless, it wrecks them. Here's the MAC-10. Roka jumping down. 2 quick kills. Good stuff.
Yeah, now it's just the guys with compLexity left over on A. Splyce, they can afford to kind of take their foot off the pedal in this round. Got the 2-man advantage, and now the ball is very much in their court. Gonna go ahead and head over here towards B as they find the 2 in lower tunnels. You have to anticipate that one of these sites is going to be the weaker of the 2. So they're just going to go ahead and hedge their bets in towards B. Stacking up on the outside of it. Worried that there could be some aggression. They didn't have anyone here watching it early on, so they do go peeking in together. And compLexity starting to rotate players into middle. Going to try and take the duel with Semphis, but he smokes off window. Going to be allowed to progress down to short. They get the bomb down here indefinitely, and Def's the only man nearby who can put a stop to this, and he's able to get one. That nade, ooh, that's damage done. Def goes down, and FNS is there to follow. It's just PTR left, and he's going to look to try and save.
Yeah, the only option he's got there. Roka's made some good bank, some bonus money there. Going to be 9-8 as Splyce starts piling it on. And this is where it can get dangerous with a second round investment that doesn't pan out. If compLexity loses that 4th because they're not going to have, you know, all the utility they'll want, all of a sudden you're in this near unstoppable spiral into doom and despair.
Ooh, it's that time of the morning where the dark.
Oh, it's gotten there.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, dark Jason is the best. Jason, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, good start there from Splyce. Money made as well. I think that was on Roka. He's looking fairly good. He's going to go ahead and drop the MAC-10 over to Davey. And this is a chance for those MAC-10s to really make some money. Of course, PTR did save himself armor with the Caesar. They're going to go aggressive up towards middle, and Exotic's here. That's not what you want to see. You're going to get tagged very low, and actually, okay, they're doing damage here. That's the bomb dropped as well. Now, Splyce kind of getting a bit hot under the collar as the aggression continues. Exotic's gone down. What's going on in this round? Roka tries to return us into some normality, and he will. Thankfully, finds 2 up towards top mid. Now going to turn his attention towards ramp, anticipating that this aggression could be coming in. They're going to go ahead and grab the bomb. Yeah, he's in with a shot here. Does he just go ahead and grab himself a rifle, though, Jason? Or does he try and go for this? Because there are rifles up in top mid.
I think at this point in the round, you go, depending on when the plant goes down, you just go for it. I mean, you have a great opportunity, and you're going to have a flank coming in where maybe they don't expect it. So you at least see what you've got, and if you don't like you know, what it looks like when you get there. You just bail out. We'll see what weapon he can pick up. Right now it's a MAC-10, so that's nothing that you really need to save. With the AK-47, yeah, go try and find, you know, a duel. Go see if you can find out where they plant, so you can get a lucky shot. And if not, if you get, you know, damaged up, you can bail out. But for the moment, he still wants to go for this. He saw at least one jump towards CT spawn. The longer this goes on, if Davey keeps pushing forward and wrapping around through the window room, this just almost becomes unwinnable. So, yeah, he has to go quick when he turns this corner. It's kind of a gamble if he looks right or left, and he loses the gamble.
Yeah, and he actually, in doing that, delivered the AK back to Splyce. They carry that forward. He takes the gamble, tries to make it work. It doesn't pan out for them, and now the buy comes in for compLexity. And, I mean, as you said, Jason, that's, in terms of utility, that is not what you want to be seeing for your CT side in their first buy. All up for PTR. Other than that, they have 2 smokes, 2 flashbangs, and an incendiary. That is not enough to keep Splyce at bay. They're going to have to rely on their marksmanship here. Oh, Roka, he's incredibly fast. Android posted up to go ahead and shut him down. Manify is taken here for compLexity, and this push coming in very fast from Splyce as they look to try and break through this lackluster utility that compLexity had. Now they've got none left.
Yeah, this is going to be tough to see if they can make progress. They have the utility down. That's a good kill from Davey. That's a mid. The lurker watching the flank. But a great find from Android. At this point, all the nades have been spent from Splyce. You know, the smoke's about to fade. They've got nothing left to put him up to refresh it. And they have no safety to retrieve and or plant the bomb. So it's going to have to be some kind of a peek that's found out. Here's Zodic. Almost needs to get aggressive. There is a minute. I mean, if they can grab this bomb and fall away and try and use this time, I mean, this is a pretty clever boost in itself. Flashbang out. I don't think anyone's going to fall for it quite yet. There's an opportunity here on the timing, and so far they don't have it. That scope is surely going to be heard. Android right around the wall. And there's Semphis with a great kill. Finds him, swings wide. Now he's made himself over towards jungle, towards window room. That's going to cause some rotation in the defense. But compLexity not overextending, and with the clock dwindling down, I mean, it's got to be Splyce making the play.
Exotic finds that frag into FNS. They're going to go charging in, and Exotic's tagged them down in with a second now. And now it all falls to the youngster for Splyce. 1v1. Going to duck back down into mid. Picks the angle. Yeah, he can't find it. He's going to be wrapping round into window. Doesn't have a kit to work with. Exotic playing this passively. He has to get the hat trick to win it out. And yeah, he's going to get the frag. Goes back to try and get the defuse.
He's got it.
He has got the time. And I mean, it was looking so good for Splyce there towards the enemy. It was a very bad scenario to be in, but Exotic and Semphis, they managed to get it done. They do find the frags necessary.
The fact they even brought that into a one-on-one is actually insane. Like, a phenomenal round from Splyce to do that much. Because when you think about it from the other angle as well, I mean, that's a victory. compLexity wins the first gun round, yeah, but they have no money. They have nothing built up after this. So as long as Splyce win this, that's a phenomenal round. Really, really cool stuff. Maybe almost too passive from compLexity, not wanting to take those fights as Splyce was stuck out in the open.
Yeah, now the opportunity to reset does come in. This is a big round for either side. Both of them on the brink of a weakened economy, right? So whoever loses this, effectively, you're kind of looking at a 2-for-1 if you are the winner. So there's a lot riding on it. Roka waiting to see if any aggression comes out. PTR. Rotated around with the AWP over here to B. I'm actually going to be seeing perhaps the boost up over on short. No, instead they're both kind of tiptoeing along up in the ladder room. It's Android and Def. Splyce, they've slowed down, taking things slowly in the beginning. Waiting to see if any aggression comes out from compLexity, which it has not. And now they look to hone their sights over here towards B.
And this should be reasonably successful, all things considered. 2 players on catwalk. It's just PTR with the AWP. They should be able to get by him with minimal damage. Maybe he hits 1 shot, but surely they can get into the site pretty quickly. Question becomes, that battle for catwalk is going to be huge. Both Def and Android giving up their position. Now Peter is smoked off. He's going to get out of the window, so now the defense becomes a bit more staunch, but this is all... I don't even know what this is, to be honest with you. 20 seconds left. This is risky is what it is. There's the kill from Davey lurking through window. Still no movement in towards the B bomb site. Great recovery from PTR. He gets a second as well. 10 seconds on the clock. They need to get this plant going down, and Selphis gets 2 big kills. There's Roka, and somehow it all works out. Maybe relying on some of the confusion coming in, but that is a bold strategy, and it works out.
I mean, both of these teams, they're loving to play it slow right now, Jason. And while I am a fan, if it works out, I feel like, you know, if things went a little bit differently there, that could be very, very bad for Splyce. If PTR had found one more frag in the site, or you didn't have Roka lurking so far behind to find that last player, then the round could have eluded them just due to time. But Splyce, now they're in the driver's seat, going to be 11-9, looking to make it 12-9 as they have the bye here. Meanwhile, compLexity, they've had to just partial what they can.
This is the recipe for disaster. One AK-47 walking into connector on an anti-eco / anti-force buy / anti-half buy all on his own with no chance of a trade. AK-47 salvaged by Android. Takes a small duel with Davey and forces him back and does some damage. And now Splyce has really no indication of what's happening across the map.
And once again, they are just taking this very slowly. The only issue with that is Def. Look at this position. It's allowed everyone to rotate over here towards A. FNS tries his hand at aggression on ramp. Will be sent to his grave. Selphis is up through connector. And Android, he's the man to try and put a stop to it. Def still looping around from behind with only 34 seconds on the clock. He could do so much damage. Android going to get caught. That was the man who had the AK. They get rid of Ye. PTR's down in CT spawn, but Def in with 1 and 2. The CZ chimes in with a second, and it's hungering for more. Selphis takes 1 to the leg and then 1 to the chest as PTR locks in at that 10th round. Him and Def between them secure a 10th that never should have been. And Splyce, they kind of get bamboozled there by their own slow pacing of the site. Allows Def to come in with that monster flank.
Yeah, I mean, that just needs to be much faster when you don't have control of the map, when you have no one on the other side of the map. It just needs to happen sooner in the round because you're giving too much time for someone else to make a play, someone in the opposition, and especially when there's the pop flash peek from FNS onto that ramp and he dies. Like, that's got to be almost like your signal to go immediately. And they did start pressing the issue right around that moment, but you just can't sit around that long without doing anything across the map. Especially on a map like Mirage, where it's so wide, and there's the flanks are so protected for a CT team, you know, pushing up, you know, in the either in Palace or in the B halls. There's no real way to spot it unless you have a body there, like physically there. So a blunder from Splyce.
Once again, another slow round, Jason. Splyce haven't been able to find much, but the one thing they have found is Roka. He's made his way up into connector, slipped on by. And well, now clearing out Palace and ramp. They're going to have 4 players here, split between these 2 positions. Davies on his own up in Palace. They have Roka to come in late, and no one from compLexity is in a position to watch from short. So you are entirely reliant on the players really in CT and on the site to keep an eye on it. Android just looks away at the wrong time. He does pay for that with his life. Now, Ye, now in the open, there's no way he survives this. He's going to be in with a second 1 HP left. PTR does shut down Davey, rather, as the nade drops Ye. It's Exotic and Selphis less. They've only got 10 seconds on the clock. Time's working against them, but Selphis with the CZ drops out Def. Bomb goes down just in the nick of time, and now Selphis caught on top of stairs, going to go ahead and get shut down by FNS. It all falls to Exotic once again. Wasn't able to clutch it out the last time, but this time the bomb is planted for him over on short. PTR peeks on out. Exotic finds it, and now FNS has his work cut out for him. Has to land an impossible shot, and Exotic won't let that happen. as the youngster clutches it out 1v2 versus compLexity.
Yeah, he lost that one earlier, but he wins 1v2. That's huge, getting on a catwalk with position with the AWP. I mean, fair play to Sempha's. Sempha's gives his life so that Exotic can make his escape and stay alive. That CZ at the top of stairs fighting, taking all the attention, allowing Exotic to reposition, buying him that precious time. That's beautiful. Really nice work. 12-10 as we go back and forth, but compLexity fully invested into this dire economic situation, although if Def is able to find another clever flank, I might just quit. Davy's watching for this. There's the kill. That's quite nice. Now you either have to go or you have to fall back if you're Splyce, because Davy gets that kill, but Def has the information that you're going to the B bomb site. So limited amount of time. I think that was a team nade. That was a team nade. That's not ideal. So they do decide to fall back after that.
Yeah, slow and steady wins the race here for Splyce. That's the motto they live by. As they reroute back over here towards this A bomb site, going to have all 5 players ready to head in. And FNS, he's the man to try and shut it down. He's going to have 5 players coming his way. So really kind of best case scenario is gets one, then falls back, maybe buys some time for the rotations. But with only a CZ, that's going to be tricky. Exotic does manage to get rid of him, and now one goes in. He's able to find damage to the smoke, but not a frag. Drone holds close. The save call going to come on in, and Splyce, they will get a 13th round. Don't really want to let these players get away with saving. There's a lot of utility on Ye. He's the man who's holding closest over in mid. So does run the risk of going down. Luckily enough, Drone going to just skirt on by. Actually, PTR and Android, they are grouped up here. It's only going to be a UMP they gain if they find him. Yeah, he's going to get sandwiched between the two. Drone goes down. Hey, Roke is nearby with the MAC-10. He's going to go charging in to desperately try and shut down one of these players. Doesn't want to force up through the smoke, as money isn't fantastic for Splyce. Got to be onto a 13th, Jason. But,
I mean, as crazy as it sounds, saving the 3 or the 2 UMPs and the upgraded pistols was huge because they have no money for anything. They absolutely had. That's all they can bring into this round. That was a risky call to force there, and it doesn't pan out. 13-10, Splyce huge advantage, and now they're starting to roll. Roka's got that MAC-10, expect him to be aggressive, but it's a mid-push from compLexity, although they haven't committed to it. Exotic waiting for this. There's a couple players from Splyce waiting for this. 3 to be exact, and they have a 3-man stack at different layers. So if Peter peeks, that could actually be funny. But he's not going to. Going to fall away. So even the aggression is slow-paced and passive as they readjust into a stack towards the B bomb site. It's only Android at A. He's at ticket booth to spot.
Yeah, this is wise. They do manage to get control of mid. Might try and boost Roker up into window with the MAC-10. PTR going to be waiting, though, in case they do decide to try it. Molotov rains in. compLexity of 3 players stacked over on B, and that looks like it's where the bomb is going to be heading, as Roka secures some ground over in connector. Sneaking on in, 30 seconds left. It's a very slow take as they sneak up through short. Sempha's the man on the entry, has support from the rest of the team. Rotations coming in. 20 seconds left. They've left it down to the wire once again. FNS able to get 1. Exotic trades, but look at this from Ye. This could be the play. Well, never mind. Not even going to bother hyping that up anymore. Android does manage to find Roker at least. There's a bit of a bit of compensation, but he only gets a MAC-10 for his troubles. Exotic, gonna get beheaded as Android's in with a second. And that's an AWP up on short for him to grab. Davy's going to be rotating in, but that smoke goes down just as a kind of a big middle finger to Splyce. Android escapes with the AWP, and now he bids them farewell.
Gonna need that AWP as well, so fair play to Android. Best outcome you could have had in this situation. There was no real chance of him winning, especially without a kit. Splyce having a pretty solid put together T-side here. towards the end of it, now that they've had the economic advantage, just piling it on. So good stuff. Good stuff. Exotic playing well. I wish we'll see towards the end, I guess, the full stats and kills and frags and all that fun stuff. Here's a fun smoke sideways. Nice. It's beautiful.
God, no, I always love to see a nice.
Should be an Olympic game, really.
What's I was gonna say smoking, but obviously,
All right.
no, not in
Bit
that.
edgy.
But here we go. Splyce looking to try and change the pace. Going to go very fast in this round out towards A. There is one man on the site. He's got the bomb, and that's Drone. He's a bit ahead of the pack, which makes me uneasy. Luckily enough for him, Ye did take a passive stance down in CT. Going to be 5v5 in the retake. And Android hot on their heels in T-spawn, but Semphis, he's been caught off guard by this once before. This time, he's not falling for it. He takes the fight to Android, and maybe he will fall for it. Has Exotic there to trade, and Android, I want to go ahead and drop Exotic. Semphis gets the trade, and that is incredibly important now. They've cleared this flank on out. Sentry goes in to hold FNS back, and in extinguishing it, he does smoke himself off. Yeah, he's up in CT, over the top of the box. His drone goes down. Time ticking away. They have to keep the pace up here on compLexity. They're going to make their way into the site. Roka finds one, nearly a second. The defuse is coming on in, and Ye's going to stick it. He gets it done. And Splyce are left scratching their head as compLexity get an 11th round.
I don't think they ever actually heard it coming through with all the gunfire and the nades going off and everything. I think, unfortunately, just no one kind of heard that he was on the defuse, or else we would have had that peak earlier. They had the manpower for it, so compLexity get away with one, but again, only one player survive. They have a double op setup, but it's all on this. If they lose this round, it's over, because their economy is going to be gone. They'll have absolutely nothing to buy, and it's going to be a very similar round as the one previously. No map control, no slow pace default, just hit this A bomb site, and here it comes in. They're going to go right through the smoke. Drone leading the way one more time. There's the op from PTR. That's through the smoke. That's got to be... That's heartbreaking. Need to get this bomb planted now and need to get into great positioning. There's not a whole lot of utility left on the Splyce side to delay this retake.
Yeah, I mean, it's another, 5-man retake for compLexity. They're showing that they're very keen to play for the retake over here on A. Not something that we usually see work out too successfully, but this time Davey, he's wrapped around through middle, and Splyce haven't done this before. This can make all the difference. It is planted for him. They're inside the site. Roka gets dealt with this time. They line up for Semphis, but he only takes one. Maybe still in mid. Exotic gets rid of one. Not again. PTR sticking it. Doesn't even have a kit. But Exotic finds him moments before he gets the defuse. They're not going to let that happen again.
That was just barely in the nick of time. That defuse was coming in real quick. Great shots with the AWP. Splyce playing that retake, or that post plant, as passively as possible to allow Davey the time to get into position, and he just gets there right at the correct moment. And this is the dire situation. Look at the buy coming out. Scout onto Def, 2 CZs, 2 Deagles. Doesn't look good. Does not look good whatsoever.
Got to stay hydrated, Jason. Not even going to try and be quiet about it. Here we go. compLexity. Trying to get it done with this weak buy to PTR. Going to get caught off guard as Davey finds him.
Davey was like jumping as that peak came in, so he couldn't actually shoot for a couple seconds. So it gave PTR a chance. Exotic down to 52.
Android's over in window. Semphis, though, looking to try and find some damage here in the ladder room. Exact his revenge. If you remember on the CT side, we had him crawling through the vents in a dire attempt to get rid of the weapon. This time, he looks to be the one to do damage through it. Does drop Android. 2-man advantage secured for Splyce. Yeah, you're going to get taken down on this aggression, you would imagine, as Davey holds for the flank. FNS is able to get one, but the trade is there. Roka provides, and now it is death. 1v4. There should be no way he defends this B-bomb site. Drone's the first man on the scene, and he gets the job done.
You love to see it. A tough fought match from both teams. Through all the technical issues, through all the problems that there might have been, Splyce comes out on top. Just running away with it on that T side. I mentioned that the T sides were going to be, where most of these rounds are going to come up. It'll probably be the same for the next map as well. But just control of the economy the whole way down the stretch for Splyce. Some great calls towards the end, finally picking up the pace. That change of pace was very nice. Regardless, We're going to hear what the analysts have to say when we return from the break, so stay tuned.